Good evening, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We had a wonderful Thanksgiving. First of all, I just want to apologize for our tardiness in beginning our meeting open. We had a few other things to discuss, but here we are. And with that, I would like to say the notice of this meeting was held in the Roselle Park Middle School auditorium. It's an open session of the Roselle Park Board of Education held under the Open Public Meetings Act of the State of New Jersey. Notice of this meeting was sent in Star Ledger, the local source, the Home News Tribune, Borough Clerk, school offices, and district website. Madam Secretary, please call roll.
President Miller.
Here.
Vice President Sokol. Here. Mr. Balaban. Mr. Bruckenstein. Mr. Dan.
Here.
Mr. Gerton.
Here.
Mr. Harms.
Here.
Mr. Nelson.
Here.
Mr. Vita.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Please rise for the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we start our public participation portion of the evening, our first one, we'd like to have a statement from our attorney and Ms. Jennifer Osborne.
At the last board meeting, a member of the public inquired about proposed board policy 5131.9 and its accompanying regulation. These were the documents that address dating violence in school. And specifically, her question was whether the definitions and contemplations of that policy and the regulation included the sexual exploitation of a teenager by a partner, friend, or stranger. At the last meeting, when this question was asked, we did not have a copy of the policy and regulation available to review, so we were unable to answer that question. However, since that time, we have reviewed both the proposed policy and regulation, along with some additional information that the same member of the public was kind enough to provide to the district office with respect to this question. After reviewing all of those materials, it's the board's position that both the policy and the regulation, as currently drafted, would cover the sexual exploitation as the language of the proposed documents are broad in nature and encompass activities that may fall under that broad umbrella of dating violence. Between the last meeting and this one, we also confirmed that the definitions that are used in that proposed policy, as well as the regulation, come directly from New Jersey statutes and regulations, and the policy is in line with the proposed regulation and policy that's set forth on dating violence in school by the Department of Education. So we just wanted to respond to that question at this time on behalf of the board to let the public know that we will not be modifying the language of the proposed policy and regulation at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Osborne. And now we're on to our first public participation portion of the evening. For agenda items only, if you'd like to speak on an agenda item, please come forward, state your name, address, and what agenda item you'd like to speak on.
Jacob McHale, 612 Sheridan Neighborhood, Roselle Park, ladies and gentlemen, the audience, viewing audience, members of the board, good evening. There are two closed session items. Was any action taken?
No action was taken.
Item 16, inventory disposal. Could someone please describe the equipment that is being disposed
And can it be recycled?
Jake, there's a touch list. It's old computers that are beyond repair and beyond use for the students. So we are asking the board to be able to get rid of them.
However, we do dispose of them with the assistance of a company that then utilizes parts that they might possibly be able to reuse, and we are paying money for the disposal of this equipment. So there is some revenue that comes in as the result of disposing this equipment.
Revenue comes into us,
The school district, yes.
but you just said we pay for it.
They give us money.
It's us that know.
Right. No, we're not paying them to dispose it by taking, it's a recyclable company, and by taking our disposal, they do us the service of disposing the equipment, but they also give us money for it as well. So we do bring in some revenue this way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
By the way, Mr. McGarrett, the list of the equipment that is being disposed of is online on the district website if you need.
Seeing there's no one else, we'll close the first public participation portion of the evening for agenda items only. Now we're on to committee reports. Does anyone have a committee report? Seeing there's none, we'll now go to the superintendent's report. Mr. Reader, ready?
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Just a couple of things that I wanted to report on this evening. First of all, yesterday, the high school had an assembly called Breaking the Cycle. And this assembly was very powerful. There were three very powerful speakers that spoke to the entire student body at the high school regarding bullying issues and regarding, and actually the theme of the assembly was forgiveness. And it really touched, I know it touched me, it touched the students in a very positive way, because the speakers were giving their life stories about things that happened to them that contributed to very positive changes in their lives. And I really believe that students get so much out of that assembly. And as we continue to promote our anti-bullying policies, and we try to make our students better human beings, and to act, to do an act of kindness whenever they can, this is an assembly that definitely reinforced that. Second of all, I know that there have been questions regarding the grant writer, and I just want to keep the public informed of what's going on. We received some grant opportunities that we're looking at. We'll continue to do so based on our needs and priorities. We do have a plan and procedures in place that I think will be very efficient and effective way of bringing in the grants. We're hoping to have at least 3 grants submitted by the end of this calendar year, by December 31st. So it's our hope that we will begin to see some of the results of hiring the grant writer. In addition to that, it is part of my merit goal is to bring in or to retain as many students in the district as we possibly can, because of the last few years we have been losing many students to magnet schools. We will be having open houses for our students in grades 5, 6, 7, and 8. Oh, 5, 6, 7, because by 8th grade it's a little late. Promoting the different programs and activities that we have here at high high school, which are plenty. We have a robotics club, we have an excellent STEM program, we have a Sci-Tech program that is very competitive and highly selective. In addition to that, our band, our debate team, and many other clubs are thriving, and we're really getting a lot of great feedback from the public. So we want to promote that. We want to make sure that our students are aware of what is going on in our high school, which it's a lot. And our staff and our administration at the high school does a very, very good job in making sure that we have one of the top public high schools in the state of New Jersey. So that's my report for tonight. I did have scheduled our Mr. Robert Holzart from the Robert Holzart and Company, who does our annual comprehensive financial report, and he's here to report to the board and to the public on his findings for the 2013-2014 school year. So, Mr. Holzart, if you mind coming up, thank you very much.
Thank you. Good evening. I just want to be brief tonight and just touch on a few things. First of all, the financial position of the district is good. We have monies in reserves which we can use to offset taxation in future years, which is proven to have. We also have monies we're using to offset taxation in this budget year, but also monies we can put aside for next year to offset taxation. So help maintain a stable tax rate, which we hope we all strive for and all districts want. So that's good to see that. We also have our fund balance that we're allowed to keep at 2%. So moving forward, you always have to monitor it. So the administration does a good job of that as well. So we're in good shape moving forward. And overall, the results of our audit examination, our tests and inquiries and observations, things were solid. We did have some minor findings with the payroll account. That was due to the fact that our payroll clerk resigned very unexpectedly in early September, the first start of the school year, which is probably not the best time, but we have an employee now who wants to take that position, and she's doing a great job. It was just a couple of things she wasn't aware of once she found out what they were. She's doing a great job, and we're very happy to see that. So just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention, but also I want to emphasize that the results of the audit were solid, and that should not take away from the end result. And other than that, service staff do a great job. And the board. So I'd be happy to take any questions about the report, or if you have any questions about anything in general.
Those three findings have been corrected?
They've already been corrected, and we worked with Sue to make sure everything was in good order.
Are they material in nature?
They're not material in nature if they were not correct. But at this point, they've all been corrected. Everything is the way it should be, so there's no issues moving forward. Thank you. Everybody have a great holiday season. Thank you.
Does anyone have questions from Mr. Holzart from the audience?
Saul Pearson, 150 Berlin Street. I guess the question, Taylor, is follows Mr. Durden's question of the three issues. Can you explain what they were? It was payroll. Were they all related to payroll?
They were related to payroll. And as I explained, it was due to a change of a couple of issues with the reconciliations, and another one with reimbursement for Social Security. Again, it wasn't anything that anyone necessarily did wrong, but because of the changeover, we thought that the training had occurred, that the new employee knew what the procedures were. And she did, once we told her what they were, she went and had it corrected. So
So it wasn't a systemic issue, it was just basically learning curve, I guess, more than anything, right?
Exactly. The woman who's now the director, she's very good. She's going to be a real asset. It was a learning curve. I think that's correct.
And then those were the only three issues.
Those are the only three issues, and as I said, it's, otherwise, it should not take away from it, because there are so many things that go on in the industry. It's a very dynamic situation in terms of finances and what happens in the business office. So, it shouldn't take away from that. You really have to go on.
Is the audit an attachment online or not yet? I'll just wait to be voting on that when it comes. So I can open it tomorrow. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Holzer. Thank you very much. And we appreciate everybody here in the galleries. And now we're on to the policy portion of the meeting. Before we get to the agenda items on policy, I need someone to make a motion, and I need a second to remove policy 5131.9, the dating violence in school, from the table, because we tabled it last meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Harm, second. Mr. Burton, was that? Dan. Mr. Dan, pardon me.
I also make the motion to accept the second reading of the district policy 5131.9.
Fantastic. And do we have a second? Mr. Dan? You're down. Okay, good. Okay, are there any questions or comments? Roll call, please, Madam Secretary.
Vice President Sokol? Yes. Mr. Balaban? Mr. Breckenstein? Mr. Dan?
Yes.
Mr. Gerton?
Yes.
Mr. Harms?
Yes.
Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
Mr. Vita?
Yes.
President Miller?
Yes.
On roll call, motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. And now we're on to personnel, where I would like someone to make a motion to approve agenda items 2 through 8, 2 being district substitutes, 3 being staff resignation, 4 being staff appointment, 5 being staff transfers, 6 being high school curricular proctors, extracurricular proctors, 7 being leave of absence extension requests, and 8 being staff retirement. Do I have a motion? Mr. Nelson, second. Ms. Sokol? Are there any questions or comments? Yes, Mr. Nelson.
I just wanted to congratulate Ms. Rose Morba on her retirement. Ms. Morba has given years of service to our district, exemplary service. She's not just a fine professional, but she's also a kind and genuinely warm human being, and we're going to truly miss her in Roselle Park and thank her for her services to our district.
Yes, I'd like to also acknowledge that she has really done a fantastic job for many years for our district and for our children and the parents. So best of wishes to her on her retirement.
Thank you, Ms. Sokol. Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Anyone else? And we wish best to Ms. Alexander, and also good luck to Mr. Keller at the Senior Health Center. Roll call, please, Madam Secretary.
Vice President Sokol?
Yes.
Mr. Balaban? Mr. Breckenstein? Mr. Dan?
Yes.
Mr. Gerton?
Yes.
Mr. Harms?
Yes.
Mr. Nelson? Mr. Vita?
Yes.
President Miller?
Yes.
On roll call, motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. And now on to education, where I'd like someone to make a motion to approve agenda item number 9, the 9 education program. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Arms, second.
I'll second.
Mr. Dan, any questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? Those items are passed. Now we're on to business, where I'd like someone to make a motion to approve agenda items 10 through 17, 10 being federal program salary allocations for 2014, 11 being comprehensive annual financial report, 12 being corrective action plan, 13 being approval of bills, 14 being use of buildings and grounds, 15 being approval of minutes, 16 being inventory disposal, and 17 being winter sports schedules. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Harms? Second? Second. Being Mr. Nelson. Any questions or comments?
Mr. President, number 12, I'm assuming that on the agenda it says corrective action, Madam, I'm assuming that it's tied to number 11 for the...
Yes, that was in your board packet. Policy,
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Burton. Anyone else? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Those items are passed, and now we're on to continuing business. Mr. Pereira.
Mr. Miller, students who have been identified as not residing in Roselle Park and have been removed from the school, we have 2 as of today, and 2 will be removed, will be transferred out on Friday. So that will bring the total to 4 that have been removed due to not residing in Roselle Park. Thank you.
So that should be a total, Mr. Pereira, that should be a total of 4 then for committee continuing with on the next one. Okay, about 4. And now we're on to new business. Anyone have new business? Mr. Nelson?
I just wanted to congratulate those people who were involved in the recent cabaret at the high school. It certainly was an outstanding evening of music entertainment. A lot of people really worked hard on this, and I think the reaction from the crowd was understandable, very positive. It was a great thing to sit in those new seats. It was wonderful to see so many members of the Roselle Park community with the various plaques on the seats, remembering the loved ones, and having a special place in that high school auditorium forever. Many years went into this, certainly many years of fundraising by the Friends of Roselle Park Festival there, and also by various members of the community, and we thank you for that. I think Mrs. Sokol wanted to say something else about that.
It's still my thunder again. No, again, with the cabaret, it was fabulous, and everyone put in so much work, and it really came through. The auditorium was beautiful. It was just a thoroughly enjoyable evening, and we hope that it will continue because we loved it. And we know how much work they all put into it. So it was great. There was even a few former students of mine there that were performing, so it was really a wonderful, wonderful evening.
And just one more thing, coming up with the holiday concerts, the arts are alive and well in Roselle Park. Coming up this Thursday night here, right here, see on the stage, get ready for it. The holiday concert at the middle school here at 7 o'clock. Next week on both Wednesday and Thursday, on the 10th, Wednesday at Sherman at 7 p.m. and on Thursday at Aldine at 6:30 p.m. The following week, on the 17th, Wednesday at 6:30 in Robert Gordon, followed by the high school Thursday at 7 p.m. on the 18th. We know that all of our students have worked very, very hard for this. The district choir will be performing at each of those concerts, and all the students at the individual schools are ready and excited about performing for the members of the community. So we encourage those people to come out in the community, and of course we know parents will be there with joy and pride on their faces. Thank you.
And one more thing, on this Friday, they're going to be having at the high school at 3:30 the senior holiday party that we have every year. We welcome our senior members of the community to come and enjoy refreshments and some entertainment. And we have had this for several years now, so it's really a great time for the seniors in our community to get together. So hopefully we'll have a good turnout this Friday at 3:30 at the high school.
One more thing. Also, Friday night will be the tree lighting here at Roselle Park, and members of our students from our schools will be participating in that also. So it's a really busy month for our students, and all positive.
Well, thank you, Mr. Nelson and Ms. Sokol. One
That Sherman holiday concert on the 10th, that's actually going to be at the high school because it has so many parents. So at 7 o'clock on the 10th, it'll be at the high school, which is a great event. But if you make it in the afternoon, it's at 12:45 at the school. So just a quick, just an update on that. And yeah, and I echo Mr. Nelson and Ms. Sokol's joy about the wonderful cabaret that we had opening our auditorium. And it's just a testament to how, this board is, and the facilities chair, Mr. Harms, as far as working with the Friends of Roselle Park and having this constant dialogue and making sure that, one of our priorities is really supporting the arts, because the arts are very important and they're alive, as you said, Mr. Nelson, in Roselle Park. Mr. Mellon? Yes. Absolutely, Mr. Dale.
I just want to thank all the taxpayers in town that helped us with the auditorium also. I think, without their help, we couldn't be so successful. I'd also like to state that I thought our football game was excellent. I'd like to give kudos to Mr. Majeras, 2 grandkids who played in the game, played excellently, and that we won over a highly rated team over ours. The marching band did great, the cheerleaders did great, and there was quite a few of us there for that game. And I just want to thank the town for their support. Thank you, Mr. Miller.
You're welcome, Mr. Hammond. Prior to that game, the Dad's Club met and they invited Roselle, the coaching staff from Roselle, to come and meet with the coaching staff from Roselle Park as well. Now, that was a wonderful, that's an annual thing that they do, and it's just a wonderful get together, a camaraderie, and just showing a good outreach to our neighbors. And we also won the copper shoe, right, Mr. Harms?
Got that?
That is, if you win 3 in a row, then you get this copper cleat that Roselle had for a long time, for a while, I guess, and we get it back. And so I don't know where it's going to be displayed, but I guess we guys have just a chance to go. And a trophy case. All right, so look for the copper cleat. With that, we'll open up the second public participation portion of the evening. If you'd like to speak on anything, please come forward, state your name and address, and what you'd like to talk about.
Jacob, I was 612 Sherman, Deputy Roselle Park. Thank you, Mr. Dan. I thought no one was going to say anything, but the kids and the students, let me tell you, they had a good time to watch talent, our champions, and they didn't bring the trophy. Roselle did not bring the trophy. Did we get it?
Wait.
You got it?
No, he'll go to the football coach. He'll go to the head football coach, okay?
Oh.
He'll get it.
How would you expect to lose?
Well, anyway, it was a very good game, very good. They're all good games. And they should be recognized by the Board of Education. I mean, who did they play for? The council? They play for the Board of Education. You guys, bring them in. Like you had a full house last week, or last meeting in Alvin. Cold like the son of a gun out there. People freezing, but they can't. They can't. Hope that won't be repeated. and on a sour note, under the announcer's booth in the bleachers, I think there are some loose pants. Not loose for the feet go. Thank you.
Thank you.
So here's 150 Berlin Street. I just want to see if there was an update. Did the finance committee are supposed to meet? Did they meet? Okay. So they're going to meet after.
We'll meet tonight.
It's the same finance committee because your appointment starts next year, right? Just asking. Does anyone know if it's going to be the same finance committee? Is there going to be a report? So suppose there's a change in members of the finance committee, which sometimes is good. Is there going to be reports so that they know what the previous committee discussed in detail?
Absolutely, yeah. And Ms. Garcia, she's a common thread right now that will carry over into the meetings. And after the January reorganization meeting, those, in about a week or so, those positions, be they new or repeated positions, kept positions, will be posted and made public record.
Thank you. With the auditorium, one of the perks or possible uses was for rental of the auditorium. Has there been any discussion, or is there a rate?
Yes.
What would that be?
Rates are published annually, and you'll see it in our January reorganization meeting. That is one of the numerous items we do that evening.
Okay.
So you'll see that at the beginning of January.
And for agenda item number 10, just a two-part question. One, why is there a varying percentage amount for the different programs? And the program salary, is that paid through federal funds or local?
As the title says there, these are all federal program grant salaries. That would be for us our NCLB grant, which consists of Title I, Title IIA, and Title III, and also our IDEA grant, which consists of IDEA Basic and IDEA Preschool. Any salaries that are paid with that grant money by law must be made public knowledge, as you see here this evening in the agenda. Your other question regarding why are they varying percentages is based upon the individual grant requirements. There are requirements as to whose salary may be paid through that particular grant. There is certain criteria. For example, Title I is your basic skills, which would be additional instruction in language arts or basic skills. And at the high school, that would be for a second additional math or language arts class. So various teachers that are at the high school who are part of this list, if you were to look at their daily class assignments, you might find, for example, I'll just make up an example, you might have a math teacher who teaches 2 Algebra 1 classes, 2 geometry classes, and 1 basic skills math class. So one of their 5 classes is the basic skill Title I criteria. So 1 out of 5 would be 20%. And that's how the percentage is decided. So it's based upon that teacher's teaching assignment. In some cases, their full day fits the criteria for that particular grant, so 100% of their salary can be charged to the grant.
Okay, there's 2 more questions then.
Keep going.
So is this total salary, is that part of a teacher's total salary? Is it in addition to, or is it their total?
It's their total salary. So if you look at the chart that's in the agenda, the second column, as the title says above, that's their total salary. The 4th column is the percentage. So person number one, it's 40% of their total salary, fits the criteria for Title I. So therefore, the 40% of their total salary is the program salary that you see on the far right in the chart.
I guess I'm just asking because the name just, so for example, Gilchrist, is that the principal?
No, that's not. Principal has retired, they're no longer employed, and would never therefore be on this chart.
Because I just saw him.
Completely different person, completely different spelling.
Okay.
But you're not the first, just,
That's
I
what I was
know I'm
asking.
teasing you, but you're not the first person to have asked that question.
Okay, so then the second column is whatever their salary is.
Is
And
right,
then-
is their total salary.
The percentage is what percentage of their salaries is, or what
Charged
percentage?
to that grant.
Correct, allocated.
Allocated to the grant.
And in some instances, it's as low as, I think, 2% and as high as 100%. So it varies. So like if a teacher spends their entire day facilitating a federal grant, that money comes.
And again, the different titles have different criteria
Right.
for their particular grant. You notice those small amounts are for people whose salary or a piece of their salary was charged to Title III, because there's very different criteria for Title III
Okay.
than there is for Title
Now I have more questions.
I.
Are these salaries, do they, again, just giving a general example, do they increase annually at the same rate? In other words, are these salaries, although not paid by the district, do they increase at the 2% level?
The total.
Is this an arbitrary number, or does this fall in line with the other RPEA contract?
The total salaries fall in line with the RPEA contract. Their teacher's total salary is based solely on our collective bargaining agreement. What piece gets charged to the grant is primarily decided by the criteria and also by how much money we receive in a particular year in the grant.
That was my other question.
I mean, we can only spend the money that we're given. We don't decide that. The government decides that and lets us know the dollar amount.
So if you add all of the first section, that's the amount that was provided through the grant. And then the salaries need to match that grant. Am I correct in that understanding?
No.
Say that again?
So if you add all these program salaries, the last column, if you add all that money,
Yes.
that equals almost or around or maybe to the dime the amount of the grant.
The answer is no, because, let me explain. With the grant money, we do not use 100% of the grant money to pay for salaries. But that's just one item that we utilize grant money for. With the IDEA grant, we might utilize some of the funding to pay tuition at a district for some special needs students. We might pay for contracted services for special needs students. We could possibly charge instructional supplies to Title I grant. We could charge professional development in those areas.
So this is a portion of the entire grant.
Correct.
And then my other question is, can this grant amount be carried? Well, first part is there usually more money allocated than used, or is it always used?
It's always used because federal grants are, there's thorough and continuous reporting throughout the grant year. I must request funds, I have to report monthly how much we expended in a given month to a particular grant. You have to do interim reporting, and then there has to be a final report at the end of the year. And the federal government frowns on So we always do our darndest to spend every penny according to the criteria by the end of the grant year.
And
You have
then,
1 year to spend that money.
right. So, is the amount round about the same amount? Does it fluctuate wildly?
Year
Does
to
it-
year?
Yeah.
It does not fluctuate wildly year to year. It's never exactly the same as the year before. There's a slight up and down. Sometimes one particular grant will increase. For example, Title III has increased, where yet Title I decreased. The funding is never exactly the same. Usually, or in my recent history here as business administrator, it's stayed somewhat relatively the same. But it does change. For example, in NCLB, there used to be a Title IV, and there used to be a Title V. Those no longer exist anywhere. Those title areas were phased out.
So then was money removed in alignment with the removal of that, or were those titles just removed and the funds?
Whatever the federal government decides, it's their
I mean, because
control.
so this impacts, so the fact that all IDEA, 100% of the salaries are paid by the federal grant.
Of the list here.
Of the list here,
Yes.
correct.
But this is not the total IDEA grant. As I mentioned before, IDEA money is also spent on
Correct.
tuition, supplies.
But it affects, I suppose, like, is there any point where the money is so low that 3 positions either need to be removed or paid
As
by
I said, it
tax?
has not wildly
Okay.
changed. Slightly higher, slightly less, but
I mean,
not
Because it's important because, I'm sorry, so the increases, again, the 2% increase, just taking a general number. Understanding that that money goes for other things, but if that federal grant money doesn't increase by 2%, how does that affect? I know it's going to be a complicated answer, but I'm trying to simplify a pretty complex issue. So if it doesn't increase by 2%, the grant for IDEA, taking into account that it pays for other things, for equipment, for materials, for programs, but the contracts go up, who pays for that difference? Or do do positions begin to be cut?
Well, the administration, along with the Board of Education, has to then look at the total finances and make those hard decisions where to alter our spending when necessary. We have no control over what the federal government is going to do next year.
So that's why it's an important component to keep an eye on this. And also
And
the
if you
state.
remember so much, I know we were here in our hearing last year. Remember the pie graph that we showed with all the different
Right.
pieces? If you remember, you'll see that the piece of the pie for
IDEA,
NCLB, IDEA grants
Yes,
is relatively small. So if that relatively small piece got just a tiny bit smaller, it's not going to have a dramatic,
Well,
impact on our budget,
well, if everything else increases and this decreases, right?
which is true.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the
So
explanation.
it's the game we play, and we try to look into the future and put together a reasonable budget.
Thank you so much for your explanation.
Quite welcome anytime.
I would be remiss if I forgot that. Mr. Dan, did I mention the band?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, you did.
Number 2, how much grant money did we get for 13 and 14, 13 and 14? And how much money was spent?
Grant money, which grant money?
All total grant money. Did we get $500,000? And we got
I don't know
$400,000.
the figure off the top of my head, NCLB, IDA, I can give you those figures, whatever we receive, we spend. But
And I
they
would-
are probably slightly under $1 million.
how much?
$1 million.
Okay.
IDA is about $400,000, and NCLB is around $450,000.
And do you ever use
It's
grant
all
money?
spent.
Do you ever use grant money for wages, salaries?
Yes, Title I, Title II.
That's exactly what Mr. Kirsten was just
We just
discussing for the last 10, 15 minutes with her.
There's an echo in there. It's working too well. And again, I would like to announce and thank you to Saul Kirsten, the concerned citizens. The football game was live with WRPK. Thank you.
Thank you, Jake. Seeing there's someone else, will close the second public participation portion of the evening, and now I'd like someone to make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mr. Arms, second.
Second.
Second, now, we cannot let this slip over so easy. So we are going to have our second meeting on December 16th at the middle school auditorium at 7 p.m. That's open session at 7. We'll be prompt that day. So we'll see you then. Have a good evening. Adjourn.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We're